From VentureX Studios, it's JP, Kathy, and the crew.
Well, we have made it through the week. I think we've made it through the week, almost. It's the beginning of the day on Friday if you're watching this at a different time. So thank you for joining us for your first, second, or third cup of coffee. I've already had one cup of coffee, so for the sake of the crew, that's it. I've switched to vitamin water. We are very excited about our show today. I know Faye's like, oh no, Kathy's already had a cup of coffee. Very excited about our show today. We've got Faye Curtis, and if you're a member of the crew, you know she is a member of the crew and has been a longtime friend to JP and to myself, and just an amazing woman, community servant, somebody who just throws all of her heart into the things she is passionate about. And she's been on our radio show, our podcast. She's been on a couple of our different podcasts. And we're real excited to have her during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And she's going to be talking about her friend who she is honoring, how you can help. And then a number of you, since we've had Brandy on the show talking about, Brandy Braley talking about breast cancer awareness, and she's doing the same walk that Faye is doing. We're going to talk about, if you're interested, a number of folks have said, how do you get involved in the walk? I'm sure you don't just pop up and do it that day. How do you plan ahead? And so Faye's going to talk with us about that. Then we have Congressman Van Taylor, very important topic that just literally seems to become more and more imperative to tackle with the lack of help from the federal government here in our own state, with the limited options that we have, and that is the border. He's been back to the border again, and we're going to be talking about that with him, and just who do you need to write? Who do you need? Do you need to get in touch with your state rep, with your congressman, with the president, with the governor? Who do you need to reach out to as we the people to say, hey, enough is enough, and we're not okay with this human crisis. So we'll be talking with him the second half of the show, and I don't know if we'll have time for any news or anything fun before or after that, but we'll find out. It's a Friday, so you never know on JP, Kathy, and the crew. Faye Curtis, how are you?
I'm doing great this morning. How's everybody doing this
We're doing well. We are doing well. We're so excited to hear your beautiful voice. I know you're in the middle of an audit at work, so I think you're actually in your car waiting to go into your office building. We always love it when you're here in studio with us, but if we can only get you on, a Zoom link, we'll take you any way we can get you. And what you're going to notice are some different pictures that will pop up throughout our segment with Faye today. And Faye, let's talk about this first picture, a beautiful picture of you and your friend. And obviously you're here, and you'll be proud of me. I even grabbed my pink shirt, my pink jacket, and a scarf that had pink in it today, to support you in your efforts to support breast cancer awareness. So who is this beautiful woman who is in this picture with you? It looks like maybe you've got a pink lei on or a pink boa on in this picture, and then you've got this gorgeous lady with a ball cap popping up behind you. So let's talk about her.
You know what? I bling out when it comes to doing a 3-day walk.
Shocking.
If you know a 3-day walk, yes. The 3-day walk is where we walk 60 miles. We walk 20 miles a day for 3 days in lieu of everybody that's been affected by breast cancer. In this photo was one of the days, I think it was in 2017, I believe, we were getting ready it was day 3. We just did 40 miles. So
Wow.
We were on day 3, and we were getting ready that morning. And as everyone knows, I love photos.
Yes.
Yes, so that is my friend Michelle, and we were up early getting ready to do our 3rd day of a 60-mile walk.
Well, I love this, and of course we've got Brett is doing a fantastic job today, and he has, Faye is honoring Michelle Bertone Buck. Am I saying her name correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
yes.
that's who you're walking in honor of this year. I know when you were in studio talking about Operation Christmas Child, did I get that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Samaritan.
you,
Yes.
you had a beautiful pink, almost leather-looking brooch on, and I believe your friend Michelle had made that for you. Am I right about
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay. So this
Yes.
this is somebody who
Yes.
you had a really close relationship with and you loved dearly.
I did, and I met her in around, I think it was 2015, 2016, and it was my first walk, as a matter of fact. And before that, we used to do barbecue cook-off competitions at a software where I used to work, and we supported them by doing all the cook-offs at Harley Davidson in Carrollton, and that's how I met all the ladies. Rochelle was the one that actually introduced me to the team, so I joined the team, but more importantly, after that, me and Michelle kind of hooked up with each other. She kind of, when I was on my first walk, I was so nervous. Let me tell you, when you got to walk 20 miles a day for 3 days, that is no joke.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of walking, and I'm glad you mentioned that you were even nervous about that. And Faye Curtis, who's like Superwoman, you got nervous about that because that's a huge commitment. So, and a number of members of the crew, since we had Brandy on at the beginning of the month to kick off Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they've asked, how do you plan? Because obviously you don't just wake up and go, well, I'm walking 20 miles today. Do you prepare?
No.
What do you recommend to people if they're thinking, hey, this time next year, I'm going to set a goal and I'm going to be part of the Breast Cancer Awareness Walk?
It comes down to I have a great team. My team's name is Pink Souls in Motion, and there are a lot of great teams out there. So what we do as Pink sisters and gentlemen, you train all year. You've got to do training walks. You've got to condition your body to walk. It's not a race. It's a walk. And if you see the picture that's on the screen, that is me actually doing a walk. And it's a day 3.
I love
and
it.
we all walk together. We sing, we laugh, we talk. But you start at 6:30, 7 o'clock a.m., and you're literally walking all day.
Wow.
But the cool thing is, the Superwoman is so great. You have pit stops, you have water, you break for lunch. So, what I would say to anybody, if you are interested in doing the walk, give me a call because I can show you how to sign up. You can be a part of our team. And it's just a fun environment to do because you're walking for a cure. You're walking for everybody that's been affected. And it's not just breast cancer. We walk for, all types of cancer. So know that we are supporting you. And if anybody out there has been affected in their family from breast cancer, please let me know their name. And I wear a brooch with everybody's different names on me when I walk.
Oh, I love it.
I will put that on my brooch and walk for them this year.
Oh, I love that. As a matter of fact, I've got my stepmom is a survivor of breast cancer. My mom is a survivor of breast cancer, and both of them long time. Like my mom, I want to say she's like 30 years breast cancer free, I believe now. And like I said, my stepmom is a breast cancer survivor, and then we've got another member of the crew, Missy Drew, who's recently gone through breast cancer and is finishing up her last rounds of infusions, some type of like a chemo. She's done the radiation, so some type of chemo infusion. And then they're checking her bones to make sure everything's good there. So, I definitely have some names to give you. And okay. And let me ask you, so would I make a donation? And I think you've reached, and I know JP and I had shared out your fundraising link. I think you've already met this year's goal, and you're working on next year's goal. Am I correct about that?
You are absolutely correct, Kathy.
Wow.
So the irony of it is yes, I have reached my goal. And Michelle, we made plans before she passed. We made plans to do Dallas and San Diego.
Wow.
So Dallas was canceled this year due to COVID. So the only walk this year is San Diego. In honor of Michelle, I am walking San Diego, and next year I'm walking Dallas. I'm doing both of those walks in honor of her because I promised her that I would do it.
I
The
love
lovely
it.
thing about Michelle is her picture. She has the most beautiful smile. Before she passed, she made me a box and she gave it to me before she passed of things that she wanted me to wear on the 3-day in San Diego. I have that box and I will be wearing everything in that box this year that she handpicked for me to wear in San Diego.
Oh, I love
and
it.
It's gonna be so surreal when I go to San Diego with my team and just doing in honor of her what she would want me to do. So I will be doing again San Diego. I'm kind of getting choked up talking about it, but I will be doing San Diego and Dallas next year. Anybody want to join me?
I was gonna say we
Dallas?
might have some folks who are ready to hop on that bandwagon with you. And let me ask you, how many people end up doing a walk? I mean, like the picture that we showed of you and all these other people walking. It looks like a ton of folks, and so if you've got a team and somebody else has a team, how many people are involved in something like this?
I don't have the actual numbers. I was told it was more than 2,000 going to San Diego this year.
Wow.
So I don't know the total numbers that are going to San Diego, but I will follow up and I will do when I get back, follow up and tell you how many walkers we had. And of course, I'm going to be blasting Facebook with pictures.
Oh, yes. And we love that. We're going to be living vicariously through you. And we would absolutely, as a matter of fact, if when's the date of your walk in San Diego?
I'm walking November 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Okay. Okay. So right before the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to see if we can coordinate with you and Brandy Braley, who she is walking for her. I believe it's for an aunt who had breast cancer, and she's going to be in San Diego as well. So maybe we can get both of y'all here after y'all have walked to hear all about it. And so, are you driving to San Diego?
I am flying, and I would love to meet Brandy one day. We do a team dinner at night, everybody. So maybe I can get her number, and I can
absolutely.
Find her in Diego.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
I think that would be great. Oh, yay. Oh, we would love that. We would love that. So let's talk about, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Obviously, you're creating awareness about the disease itself, fundraising, and let's talk about. And I know there have been advances, obviously, like since my mom went through it, to current day, having a friend go through it. I know there have been a lot of advancements in the treatment and things of that nature. Faye, how close are we to a cure?
That is the $1 million question.
Yeah. I mean, do you hear when you're out and about? Do you hear of easier paths of treatment? I know because I just know some of the, you hear some of the horror stories of people where like the chemo or the radiation or the treatment almost kills them before it saves their life. Do you hear of less invasive surgeries nowadays? Like in the years that you've been involved, have you heard of progress in treatment? Do you feel like that's kind of where we're headed towards?
Yeah, Kathy, when I'm out walking with everyone, we really don't talk about it.
Oh, okay, interesting.
We really just enjoy each other's company and know that we are doing what we can for a cause and coming together, just talking about, being a blessing.
Oh,
we just have fun knowing that we're walking for people that are affected by this disease, because that's what it is. And we just have a good time. We just have a good time. So, statistics, I don't know the answers to that. I'm sorry, but I can find that out for you. But when we're walking, we walk and we talk about just different things and life and, you will be amazed at some of the things you see on the 3-day. There's one picture that I sent you of some dogs that
Oh
people
yeah,
dressed
do we
up
have?
as.
Oh yeah, let's talk about this picture because of course I'm a ginormous dog fan, and I saw this picture and I love this. So were these just random people? How did this happen?
Well, when you're walking, because it's a route, people are encouraged to support the walkers. In this picture, you will see it was so cute. We had to stop, of course, and take a picture. They dressed their dogs little. Those are tutus, by the way. They put around their neck.
That's so great.
And we got to pet them and just hang out for a few minutes. So you will be surprised of all the things you see on the 3-day walk.
Oh,
You
that's so
get
fantastic.
people sharing you get dogs, you get people out there wanting to give you a drink, you get people wanting to give you a hug, you
Oh,
get people
I love that.
it is amazing because the community comes together.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to seeing how San Diego comes together to support the 3-day.
Oh, I would imagine it's going to be a huge, just a huge celebration of life. And like you said, I think it's great that it's almost because I know, I've had friends who they've walked while they were going through, breast cancer when they had just gotten over treatment or, they did part of the walk. And so I think it's kind of a nice, I would imagine it is probably a really nice break to just get together and love life and just kick back, celebrate, those who we've lost, honor their memory, and then get out there and just have fun, because when you get that cancer diagnosis, it's just so tough. Everything, and everything kind of revolves around that. And I think it's great that, like you said, people aren't talking about what kind of treatment or what they've got to go, what they're getting ready to go through or they've gone through. Y'all are out there posing like rock stars with dogs who are dressed up like rock stars.
And these two are my team members. We were walking. This is actually a 3-day walk. We were walking, and as we were walking, we saw the dogs. And we had to stop and take a photo. But look at the smiles on our face.
And tell us, Faye, real quick. Tell us the name of your 2 team members because you are walking with them again this year, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That is her name happens to be Michelle, also.
Okay.
And that, oh my gosh, she's gonna kill me because I can't. Kelly. Michelle and Kelly, they're 2 of my team members on Pink Souls in Motion. And as you see, we do different shirts every year. So we will have different shirts that we're going to wear as a team on the 3-day. We just have fun. We have fun.
Well, and I love that because, I think life is serious enough as is. And, we go through tough times, and especially my goodness, I challenge anybody who, while you're watching this show today or tomorrow, whenever you catch it, and hello and thank you for tuning in. I would be shocked if anybody on this feed hasn't had somebody in their life who's been affected and impacted by cancer. I just that's one of those things that it's interesting, Faye. Back in the day, you really didn't. Oh, nobody wanted to. You didn't want to talk about cancer, and it was whisper about it, and it's it was a taboo subject. And I fast forward to today, and these pictures I'm seeing of you and your friend and your friends and all of the folks who are out there supporting this effort, and it's something that we talk about, and as a result of that, saves lives. My goodness, I'm sure you've had the conversation with your girlfriends. We've talked about breast exams, and it was a girlfriend of mine that had said to me that that she does her self exam and does soap with the water. And I even talked to my doctor who said, absolutely, if there's something that can help you better sense a change in your breast tissue, then absolutely. So I think that's the kind of stuff that saves lives. And so, us being able
Right.
to openly talk about it on podcasts, radios, TV, people posting about it like yourself all over social media, it's one of those things that makes it okay to talk about. And as a result, somebody might get diagnosed early and their life may be spared.
Yeah. Yeah. Kathy, the picture of Michelle where she's by herself. Here's what I want the readers to.
And we've got that right up. And this is
Yep.
Michelle
Yep.
Bertone Buck, who you are walking in honor of this year.
But what I want people to know about her is, if you look at this picture, you can see her beautiful smile.
Yes.
She was a 10-year breast cancer survivor. When breast cancer came back, it came back with a vengeance. She was a beautiful person inside and out. And I want people to know that in honor of her, if you want to support the memory of her, I am walking this year, which I've already met my goal, and next year of Dallas. So we have that link up for that. But just know that you have to make sure you're doing your part in getting checks and doing things. So know that there are people out there that will support you on this journey. You're not alone. And if you're listening and you have been affected by breast cancer, please let me know, because our team, we have where we can I can submit for you to get a grant to help with your situation. So we do different things. It's not just about us walking. We want to be a help to people.
Well, and that's good to know. Let me ask you this, because I know a lot of women who end up going through breast cancer, especially if they're single or if they end up having to take a leave of absence from their job because of the cancer treatment, surgery, recovery time, and then treatment, end up falling into hard times financially. Is there help for somebody who's dealing with a situation like that? Men or women, because again, men get breast cancer too.
Right. Yes. Yes. There are so many resources available to people. Again, as a team, we try to help people. Everybody tries to help and support. So I wanted people to know you're not alone. That's the whole thing. Just know you're not alone. We are walking, and all the people that are walking in San Diego will rally around you and help you and honor you. And I love the fact that there is a 3-day walk. The 3-day walk is so important, and that's why we raise money and funds. So one day we won't have to worry about.
I love that. Well, God bless you, Faye Curtis. We love you dearly. Your beautiful friend Michelle, who you're honoring this year, we honor her with you, and just want to say we love you to her family and to her friends and those who are still missing her. And we cannot wait to see pictures and hear all about it. And like I said, I'm going to get you and Brandy together so we can bring y'all on the show after y'all do the walk in San Diego, and let's just talk about what a huge success it is. And if people want to donate, we've got that up there. And can you drop it into like our Facebook feed or one of our social media feeds, your link for the fundraising?
I can. And also I wanted to say, Michelle also did a boxer rescue, and I know you're an animal lover too.
Yay! Oh, I love it. That just makes us like her all the more. Well, thanks, Faye. We love you.
Her husband helps out with boxer rescue as well.
Well, then we might need to get him on the show talking about boxer rescue.
Yes.
We would love that. Yes. Well, so give him my number. All right. Well, thank you so much, Faye. We just think the world of you. You do so much good out there in your community and in the world for so many good causes. And God bless you, and have a great weekend. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, we got a couple more days in October, so wear your pink.
I love it. Thanks. Bye, Faye.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.
All right, great information, and just what an incredible lady Faye Curtis is, and just very blessed to call her friend, and I know JP is, and just very honored to have her on the show and talk about all of the different great things she does. So breast cancer awareness, if you want to help out, Faye's got a link and a way for you to help and be part of her team and walk next year. I think she said the walk's back in Dallas next year, so that's good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, we've got Congressman Van Taylor on with us. I want to say, I think he's in D.C. today, so let's get him on the screen and find out where he is talking to us from. There he is. How are you, Congressman?
Good morning, and good morning.
We love it. We love it. Okay, so are you in D.C. today?
Yes, we're going to vote and then finally get out of here and hopefully get back to Texas.
You are ready to come home after you're dealing with the swamp in D.C. I'm sure Congressional District 3 always looks good to you.
Sure. Well, looking forward to, how are you doing?
Doing well, and looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weekends when we celebrate the veterans that you will be honoring. So can't wait to talk about that after the event and celebrate the individuals who you will be honoring that day. Let's talk about just honoring the good old folks of the great state of Texas, and let's talk about, this is a humanitarian crisis. The fact that none of the major news stations, that the liberal media is not reporting this is beyond me. But you've recently been back down to the border, and I want to also talk about your history with the border, because this is nothing new to you, Congressman. You've been dealing with this issue and this building issue, oh my goodness, for decades now. So let's talk about your most recent visit, and also if you can let those members who are new to the crew, let them know about your service on the border prior to being a congressman.
Sure. So I actually, my first time on the other side of the border was actually 25 years ago as a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. I was part of Joint Task Force 6. Which was a unit put together under President Reagan and continued to be deployed under President Clinton, and that was to use U.S. military resources to protect our southern border. And went down, I've been back on the border subsequently in the state legislature and was recently down there last week. And, it's the worst it's ever been. The border, which was the most secure it had been in a generation, as a result of President Trump implementing his Remain in Mexico policy, his utilization of his Title 42 authority to deport people out back to their home countries, and furthermore, his efforts to build a wall. So simple thing that worked. He did that without Democrat help. I remember when I got to Congress, the Democrats fought very hard against building the wall, which was very effective, which does work. President Biden on day one, the very first day he was president, he got rid of those. He stopped deporting. He stopped the wall. He stopped Remain in Mexico policy. And his terrible decisions have resulted in the least secure border we have seen in a generation. We just got the numbers this week, Kathy, that the number of illegal aliens arrested on the southern border of this country in September was the highest it has ever been in the history of our country. In fact, it's 3 times higher than it has ever been in the history of our country. It is out of control down there. President Biden is 100% responsible for this. His poor decisions and what he's done has made America less secure.
And let's discuss that. This man has not even been president for 1 year, Congressman. It's almost like overnight we went and you and I we've both got tons of friends. We know business owners. We know people who live on the border, who have farms, ranches, businesses, who are trying to raise their family and just put food on the table. And it was literally overnight that all of a sudden, I know your office was flooded with calls. I know JP and I were being hit up with people saying, we need help. It's like overnight, the current president, the current administration undid everything good President Trump did. And now look where we are. Like you said, it's, you've got a 25-year plus history with the border. and it's the worst it's ever been. How is that in the year 2021 with all of the technology that we have and all of the resources we have? How does that happen?
Sure. Well, and actually, I'm one of the very few members of Congress that has any experience on a professional level on the U.S. Mexican border, and so that unique perspective, I think, is very important to send to Congress. I mean, we need people that have experience that actually applies to the challenges of the day. And President Biden opened up the doors, and you've heard many illegal aliens say, "Look, I came here because I heard President Biden was going to hand out free health care. I came here because I heard that I would be able to stay." And he is doing that. He has turned Border Patrol. And when I visited the Donna processing facility near McAllen, Texas, last week, they were very clear with me that, look, morale is low. We are dispirited. We have spent our lives defending this border against anyone who would cross it. And we have been turned from a border patrol agency to a border processing agency. Anybody who wants to come in can come in. And our job is not to stop them or to return them. Our job is to send them on wherever it is they would care to go. And that has made and so President Biden made these choices. These are choices he's made. I mean, he changed things on the U.S.-Mexican border. He's decided to do these things, and it is to the detriment of the safety and security of this country. And let me explain that. Not only are criminals coming across, and I'm not saying everybody that comes across is a criminal, but there are criminals that are apprehended all the time in huge numbers and frightening numbers. And you also have drugs coming across. So just to kind of go down that for a second.
Let's talk about, and I do want you to talk about this because I just recently, and I wish I had the number, you probably know it, the increase in deaths from fentanyl, and that's hitting our kids in Collin County in our own backyard. People are like, well, that's down at the border. The drugs that are killing those kids, and like they're cutting, and if I'm using these terms incorrectly, please somebody correct me, but they're like cutting marijuana cigarettes with fentanyl, and the kids don't know it, and guess what? They're dead after one puff. That does impact us.
Absolutely. No, and we have a very serious opioid problem in this country. In 2010, you were looking at between 10 and 15,000, or in the 2000s, you're looking at between 10 and 15,000 drug overdoses a year. And the number would go up and down. But last year, 92,000 Americans died from drug overdoses. 92,000 Americans died from drug overdoses. That is more Americans that have died in all the wars that have been fought in my lifetime. More Americans
that's so tragic.
Have died in 1 year from drug overdoses. And so common sense would tell you we need to keep drugs out of this country. And let me just tell you on a human level, and I've met with these families, the family that had, the promising senior at Frisco, who was about to graduate, who took that puff and who died. I've met with that family. I've talked to people who, their grandmother in McKinney, Texas, died from an opioid addiction and ultimately died from that opioid addiction. And actually, just so we're clear, the high water. If you look at the distribution of deaths by age demographic, it's across all ages. It's not unique to. It's not young kids in their 20s. But the highest dying demographic is actually 40 to 50. So it's 40 to 50 people in the prime of their life who are dying from drug overdose. And think about the loss to that family. Think about the loss, what it does to their children, to their siblings, to their spouse, to their parents. Right? I mean, these are real losses that our society is taking. And on our southern border, Border Patrol has apprehended more fentanyl year to date than they have in the last 3 years combined. Right? So we have more drugs being caught on the southern border in the last 9 months than were caught in the last 3 years combined. And right here in the DFW Metroplex, one of our county sheriffs was saying that the price of a hit of fentanyl in January was $50, and that has dropped to $15.
So
From
you're saying from
$50
50 to
Correct.
15. So so here's the thing: these drug dealers, the cartel, they know what they're doing. You make a
Absolutely.
drug so unbelievably affordable that even somebody who doesn't have money to buy, a new pair of shoes can afford the drugs. They get hooked on them, and you're telling me some statistics that I haven't heard, and I try to be well read when it comes to things like this. I'm blown away by the average age of somebody who is hooked on opioids. I just, you always think of drug use and you think, okay, well, that's when, kids are in junior high or high school, or they're in their early 20s and you're not thinking straight and you haven't grown up yet. You're talking about contributing members of society who are between the age of 40 and 50. And you're right, that devastates an entire family. You go from being a taxpayer and somebody who can, help your family get their next meal and put a roof over your head, to somebody who is dependent upon a substance that's getting easier and easier and easier and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper by the day, and that's being brought into Texas in staggering numbers. Why are these numbers not all over the news?
Well, the crisis on the border is so large and so multifaceted, right? So here you and I are taking the time, to go into the drug problem. But let's be sure that we ascribe, responsibility where it should be ascribed, and that's to President Biden. President Biden opened up our border. He has allowed massive numbers of people to flow over. We are at, again, a once in a generation crisis on the southern border. It is created, manufactured by the White House. President Biden has chosen to do what he's done. He chose to stop building the wall. He chose on the first day of his presidency, right? So day one, I'm not going to build a wall. I'm not going to deport people. I'm not going to use the Remain in Mexico policy. And those are choices that he has made. And those choices have consequences. And the consequences are to us here in Collin County, who are suffering from the poor judgment and the bad decisions that this White House is doing, and it has a real consequence. And on the ground, as I was in an outdoor processing facility that was underneath an international bridge coming into McAllen, Texas, and at that processing facility, the guy who was the Border Patrol agent who was running that facility said, "Look, it used to be that the illegal aliens would walk up along the bridge and come up into this processing facility. We processed them. And that was very efficient for us. We obviously don't want that, but
Right.
At least they were coming directly to us. We'd have to go get them. The cartels, which control every square inch of Mexico south of the Rio Grande, nobody crosses that border unless they're paying off the cartels. So understand that the cartels are profiting. A criminal enterprise is being enriched by President Biden's reckless policies on our southern border right now, as we speak. And that's been true since the very first day he came into office. It was one of the first things he did. And so those cartels are smart enough to understand, hey, let's use the human trafficking to help the drug trafficking.
Right.
So they started sending the human, instead of sending them on to go just walk across in the processing facility, they would send them a couple miles to the east. And so the Border Patrol agents would have to go over there, get them in a bus, bring to the outdoor processing facility, and then process there. Well, while the Border Patrol is dealing with the human trafficking operation that the cartels are running, the cartels are going to the west of the International Bridge, and they're running drugs over there. And so President Biden, what he has done has made our country less secure, allowing illegal aliens to come in, allowing drugs to come in. And the other thing that's going on the southern border, and I was very shocked when I went into the Donna processing facility, they told me, look, we used to test, and we found out approximately a quarter of all the people crossing our southern border illegally, a quarter of them are COVID positive. And I said, that's incredible. That's a staggering statistic.
That's huge.
How could it be a quarter? How could it be that high?
Right.
I said, well, you got to understand. And I actually talked to some of these people that were, my Spanish is good enough. Kathy was able to go and talk to them. And actually asked them, how did you get here? How long did it take? And they were walking, they were coming by bus, but they were also spending the night in a stash house, right? So there'd be 50, 60 people in a very small, 2,000 square foot house. And of course, that is a prime breeding ground for COVID, right? So one person gets COVID, they spread to everybody else. They're in a bus for 10 hours on their way up.
That high probability of
Absolutely.
you getting COVID when you're exposed like that. So, and again, so I'm sitting here, you see the things going on like with Southwest Airlines. You see, you see companies. I've got somebody very close to my family who has had a job, works from home, and is being told up until recently when Governor Abbott stopped it by an executive order, was being told, doesn't matter, you're a great employee. I know you work from home. I know you've already had COVID and you've been tested and you've got antibodies out the wazoo, but you still have to get this shot. And again, and I'm going to say thank you because it was interesting. I had said, hey, call Congressman Van Taylor's office. They will be able to help. And so that person called your office and then called me back and said, wait, I think this is a DC number. And I said, it's probably somebody from Congressman Taylor's office calling. And sure enough, it was. And y'all were able to help talk them through the process of, how to get an exemption. But so you've got good Texans who are just hard workers who are being told you have to be vaccinated or you have to wear a mask or all these different rules that are being put on people. But everybody coming across the border, and like you said, a lot of them are coming over because of the cartel, and they're bringing drugs and they're sex trafficking our children, our young girls all over the state of Texas. Where are their rules and regulations? Why do we as Texans, as citizens of the United States of America, why do we have all these rules and it's a big free-for-all with them?
Yeah, it's just incredible, Kathy, because the Border Patrol revealed to me that they are now testing virtually none of the people coming illegally across the border, and they're not vaccinating any of them. None of them are vaccinated, and they are sending them into the country, across the country, by plane, by bus, COVID positive. They know it, and they're told to do it by the Biden administration to send them in. And so you have the Biden administration. It's truly incredible. They're literally telling companies, you've got to vaccinate everybody or fire them. But illegal aliens, they can come into this country, they don't have to get vaccinated, and they can be COVID positive, and we'll just send them on their way. It's truly astonishing how irresponsible, hypocritical, and two-faced that decision is by the Biden administration.
It really is. So let me ask you two questions. For one, well, this isn't a question. This is rhetorical. I'm just going to throw this out there, and the crew can do with this what they will. It's almost like Biden is targeting Texas, maybe because of our love of liberty, our love of freedom, our love of individual liberty. I don't know. That's just to put aside. But the two questions I have for you. So what can Texas do? And I was reading this morning about some new things that some Governor Abbott giving the ability for the National Guard, I believe, to make arrests of these folks. So I want to know your thoughts on that. And then in D.C., and I know, again, you're trying to be a voice of reason. You and a number of wonderful Texas congressmen are trying to be a voice of reason and solve this issue. What can be done with the current administration and their power that they have in D.C.? So first, what can we do from a Texas point of view, and what do you think about what Governor Abbott's doing? And then in D.C., what do we need to do?
Well, just Texas is stepping up. Governor Abbott, the taxpayers of Texas, the Texas legislature is devoting, billions of dollars to defending our southern border. And this is a travesty because this is a federal responsibility. It is a federal job to protect our international borders. It is not the job of the state of Texas and the Texas taxpayers to shoulder that burden. But again, irresponsible choices in Washington by President Biden is forcing this burden on the taxpayers of Texas. I met with the Texas Department of Public Safety. I actually was on the Riverine Patrol. I went on the Rio Grande in their boats as they were patrolling, looking for drug smugglers, looking for human traffickers along the border. And the Texas Department of Public Safety is working carefully and thoughtfully with the Border Patrol, and they are doing all that they can do. They are helping to detain people. Unfortunately, federal law, state law enforcement cannot enforce federal immigration law, and that is not only in statute, but it's also been tested in case law. So there's a case law that really constrains the ability of Border Patrol, of Texas Department of Public Safety, to really do as much as I think you and I would want them to do.
Right.
But what they are doing, and I'll give you an example of what Texas is doing. When the almost 15,000 Haitians showed up in Rio Grande City, Texas, the Texas Department of Public Safety, in conjunction with our National Guardsmen, actually we put 2,000 troopers and National Guardsmen approximate to them, because we were worried that they would actually riot and start to, and actually rampage into the town of Rio Grande City and harm civilians. And so Texans stood up and, sent their National Guardsmen, sent their their state troopers in there, and they went in and, got the Haitians to not riot, and to, and defended the town. So I'm very proud of Governor Abbott for what he's doing. He is stepping up in a major way. He is doing everything that I think he can do legally within the bounds of the law to try to defend our southern border.
Right. Well, and that's one of those things that, again, you hear a lot of ideas out there that sound like good ideas, and especially, because we're starting to hit campaign season here, and you hear a lot of people talking about this, that, or the other. But again, you've got to go back to legally we are bound to certain things we can do, and certain things we cannot do. Wrong or right, like it or love it or like it or hate it or whatever. You have to operate within the confines of the law. So let's talk about that. So in D.C., and I know God bless you for all your efforts on behalf of Congressional District 3 in D.C. You've got to feel like. You've really got to feel like, and I don't know what else to say other than you've got to feel like you're banging your head against a brick wall over and over and over, because you're trying to bring logical solutions. I know you're very solution oriented. You're trying to bring rational thinking into a place where it's frowned upon.
Yeah, well, look, I've joined with, other Republicans in Congress, Texans and other Republicans to fight back. We've done press conferences. We've authored bills, letters, resolutions. Just yesterday on the U.S. House floor, I signed the discharge petition to get a Remain in Mexico policy bill authored by Andy Biggs, chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, to force that bill to come to the floor, to compel the White House to follow the law and stop letting people who are claiming asylum stay in this country and send them back to Mexico. That's what President Trump did.
Right.
It was a very good policy. I was very proud to stand with President Trump when he implemented that policy. I think it was the right policy. And clearly it was effective. It worked.
Right.
I mean, it's in the numbers. You cannot dispute the data. And the data says that Remain in Mexico and the wall and deportation created the most secure border we had in a generation. And you also know that getting rid of those three policies, which is what President Biden did on day one, gave us one of the least secure borders that we have had in a generation. I stand here in Washington, and I'm trying to bring attention to this problem. This is a serious problem. It needs to be dealt with. It's hurting our communities. It's creating a humanitarian crisis, a drug crisis. It is empowering and enriching the drug cartels, which seek to do nothing good for America. The drug cartels are not to be liked or wanted. We don't do anything good for them. But the Biden administration is happy basically to work hand in hand with them. I mean, this is a business for the drug cartels. The drug cartels are actually advertising on television in Guatemala, in El Salvador, in Honduras, in southern Mexico, saying, we will get you safely to the border. The going rate is $4,000 to $6,000 per person to be trafficked from a northern triangle country to the Border Patrol in McAllen, Texas. And what is shocking about this is that the payment is due upon delivery to the Border Patrol. So the cartels have set it up, the drug cartels have set it up so that if the person that they're smuggling gets to Border Patrol, that's a touchdown. It used to be if they got to Border Patrol, they were going to be deported or they were going to be sent back to Mexico to adjudicate their asylum there.
Right.
And so that wasn't a win. But it's a win now because President Biden has made it a win for the drug cartel.
And that's just, and I just, how can, and again, a rhetorical question, how can an American president do that? And do that to not only our state, but several other states in the union who are on the border as well.
Well, and I think we all remember, President Trump saying, we need America first.
Yes.
And I think what you're seeing on the U.S.-Mexican border, this idea of turning Border Patrol into a border processing, the idea of letting people who are COVID positive into our country, it is no longer America first. It is illegal aliens first and Americans last.
Howdy, that's true.
This president needs to stop that. And he needs to put Americans first again. And he needs to secure our border. He needs to re-implement the Remain in Mexico policy. He needs to build the wall. What was incredibly frustrating for me driving on the southern border last week was seeing walls that had stopped construction, seeing a gate that had not been hooked up with electricity because President Biden had told them, stop, don't build the gate, don't hook it up with electricity. And so the gate's wide open, or the wall goes along and then it stops. Or driving past acre after acre after acre, stacked 10, 20, 30 feet high of materials to build that wall, to protect our border. Was talking to another congressman who was saying that the Biden administration is talking to someone about paying a contractor to destroy the fencing material because they don't want the next administration to buy what is already owned by the taxpayer. Taxpayers paid for it. They're like, oh, we want you to destroy it. We'll pay you to destroy government property, not because it makes economic sense, but because ideologically they don't want the wall. They're that opposed to the wall.
That's so frightening that that's even a conversation or a thought process. Now, fortunately, you've got quite a few members of the crew who are agreeing with you today. We've got Ann Guzman said, why can't we protect our borders like we do when we send our soldiers to other countries? And then Marvin says, most of Congress, obviously present company excluded, most of Congress doesn't see anything that happens outside of the limits of D.C.
Yeah. Well, and just, for the troops that are on our southern border. So when I was a U.S. Marine, I was sent down to our southern border. And what was shocking to me is that I had no legal ability to defend myself beyond what a civilian would have, what Kathy, you and I would have to defend ourselves. And so because of that experience and seeing that go awry, I actually worked when I was in the Texas Senate to pass legislation to allow National Guardsmen who are under state orders. So the members of the Texas Military Department who are on the U.S.-Mexican border under Governor Abbott's orders right now that are being paid for by the taxpayers of Texas, they have the legal authority to defend themselves. They have the same status to defend themselves that the Border Patrol agents or the DPS agents that are troopers that are there with them right now. They all of them have the same legal authority to defend themselves.
Well, and again, I think we're in a unique position with you as a congressman that you have seen what can work on the border, and really the sad thing is, I was just at the Texas Federation of Republican Women's Convention, and the border was a big topic that all of us, in our free time over a glass of wine, we're discussing, the issues, especially with our sisters from the South, the southern borders who were there, and you've got a couple of congressional candidates that are running as Republicans that are running literally on the mantra of securing the border because that's their own backyard, that's their own front yard. So unfortunately, when I'm talking to folks, I'm saying outside of the limited things that Governor Abbott can do in Texas, and he's doing what he can do, you as a congressman, until you have more people who think like you in Congress, unfortunately, really our hands are tied because the current president doesn't care about the Texas border, doesn't care about the people who are here, the hardworking Texans, and doesn't care about the folks coming over.
No, and let me say, we just have to keep the pressure on this administration.
Yes.
We actually did get a win last week.
Okay.
So there have been lawsuits against the administration for all the terrible things they've done.
Yes.
And one of the lawsuits was, hey, you need to reinstitute the Remain in Mexico policy. And actually, this case went all the way up to the Supreme Court almost 2 months ago. And the Supreme Court told the White House, you need to follow the law. You need to re-implement the Remain in Mexico policy. And the White House spent 6 weeks hemming and hawing over whether or not they wanted to follow that instruction from the Supreme Court. And last week, they said, okay, you know what? We're going to reinstitute the Remain in Mexico policy. And I think that is a testament to the hard work of Texans and Americans that have put pressure on the White House and on Congress to actually follow the law. Now, I have to admit, I'm skeptical. I mean, this is a White House that has shown they don't live up to their commitment.
Right.
The president said, I'm not going to raise taxes on people making under $400,000 a year. And look at the trillions of dollars in new taxes that are in front of Congress today. This is a president that said, I will leave no person behind. I will not leave anybody behind. We're not leaving Afghanistan until we get everybody out. Right now, my office is trying to get 450 people out of Afghanistan.
Wow.
450.
Who
right?
were left behind. These are real people who were left behind.
Yeah, but this is a president that has consistently not lived up to his commitment. So him saying, I'm going to reinstitute the Remain in Mexico policy, I am skeptical. But I know that if we keep the pressure on, maybe we can get that one policy change put back on. And that will help. It's not going to solve the problem. President Trump solved, I don't want to say he solved it, but he got it into the most painful we've had in
he did.
generation.
He absolutely did.
And it's going to be hard to get it back. And I don't think this president's capable of doing that. I don't think he will do that. I don't think he wants to do that. But hopefully he'll listen to the Supreme Court, he'll follow the law, and he'll reinstitute the Remain in Mexico policy. But there's a lot of howling from the very far left who seems to get to call the shots for this White House.
Yeah, and they do. I mean, there's no two ways around that. So as we wrap up, if somebody is watching this and they want to find, they're like, hey, I'm angry. What do I do? Who do they write a letter to the president? Do they write a letter to obviously to you?
Send an email to your congressman, to your senators, to the White House. Tell them what you want. That makes an impact. The more people that communicate, I track, every day who sends in letters, what they're writing about. I care about that. I have 100% meeting policy, as you know,
Yes,
Kathy.
you do.
I've listened to every single constituent that's ever asked to have a meeting with me. I've heard it from people on both sides of this. But what I can tell you is I haven't met anybody that wants to see more drugs coming to this country.
No,
I haven't met anybody that wants to see more people who are COVID positive coming into this country. I haven't met anybody that wants to see more human suffering on the southern border, right? So I think we could agree as Americans that what's going on our southern border is unacceptable. And it needs to stop.
Amen.
And we know the policies that work because they were in place when Donald Trump put them in place and President Biden ripped them up on day one.
Yeah, and I just, you go back and then I want you to tell people how they can get in touch with you. You go back and you think of we're not even a year into this presidency, and literally it was like it was overnight. There are things that and you've talked about this before. We go back to Afghanistan and the discussions you had about that in great detail when we were dealing with that tragedy and we were losing people and we knew people were being left behind. There's a lot of things that if Biden would have just let it be, we wouldn't be in the turmoil that we're in right now. We wouldn't be in dire straits right now.
Yeah, all President Biden had to do to secure the border was nothing.
Yeah.
If he had just done nothing, we would have a secure border. We wouldn't have the drugs coming over. We wouldn't have the COVID positive people coming over. We wouldn't have the criminals coming over. We wouldn't have the problems that he has created. His decisions. He acted affirmatively to create the crisis on the southern border. And it is, look, just think about it. Just the month of September, 3 times higher than it had ever been in the history of our country. 3 times higher.
Well,
3 times higher.
Congressman,
that is, and I hope that somehow it magically goes away. But hope, as they taught me as an officer in the Marine Corps, is not a strategy.
Right.
Hope is not a strategy.
It's not. It's
you
not.
need to take concrete steps, and we know what works. Building a wall works.
We do.
Supporting people works.
Yeah.
Remain in Mexico works.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just it's literally, when you come on our show and talk about this, it just seems like we're in a world that's upside down right now. Now, if people want to get in touch with you, they want to follow you, they want to get your newsletters,
Sure.
and they don't have to be in your congressional district to get this. So how can they get in touch with you, Congressman?
You can go to my congressional website. You just Google Van Taylor Congressman, and you'll get it. And I think we'll try to put that in your Facebook feed there, so people can get it as well. But great to be with you, Kathy.
Thank you,
and a happy Friday to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Same to you, and can't wait to get you back in CD3. Thank you for all the good work you do and that you've done over the years, and for your service to our country and your continued service. You and your family have a blessed weekend, and we'll see you soon, Congressman. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. A wealth of information, and unfortunately, whenever Congressman Taylor comes on the show, you hear of just the human suffering and the pain that is being put upon us by this current administration. So we need prayer. We need you, first of all, pray. We need praise that maybe, prayers that maybe this president and his heart will be softened, and he'll try to help these people who are in need here in Texas. We're all in need. You hear every day about some other horror story, and a lot of it has to do, it revolves around drugs, and so it's heartbreaking. Right, if you're in Congressman Taylor's congressional district, write to him. Write to Senator Cornyn, write to Senator Cruz, write to the president, send an email, and you can send the same email to everybody and copy everybody. If you've got a different congressman, even if it's a congressman who doesn't support what you support and doesn't support border security, those numbers do matter, and especially as we come closer and closer, that we've got our constitutional amendment election, which is coming up the first Tuesday in November. Early voting is going on right now. But this time next year, all of these folks will be up for re-election. Well, not necessarily the United States. The congressmen will be up for re-election. And those are the ones, and some of the United States senators will be up for re-election. But this is one of those things that those letters and those emails and those calls make a difference. So it is what it is. That's just how politics works a lot of times. Not everybody gets a congressman like Congressman Van Taylor, who's very accessible and is listening to We the People. So reach out. It can't hurt, and it just takes a few minutes. So anyways, I guess that's it for today. We've gone a little bit over time, but we had two very important, two great guests with great information. Again, if you want to support Faye Curtis and her efforts and honor her friend Michelle along with her, she would love for you to do so. Get on her site and donate and help out. And then think about joining her walk team for 60 miles this time next year. And then we'll be looking forward to having her and Brandy come in after they both do the walk in San Diego. Can't wait to hear all the fun stories and see all the great pictures that go with that. Have a wonderful and a blessed weekend, and we will see you next week. We've got This Pink Cloud coming up, a show all about recovery, and especially with everything going on in society nowadays, a show about recovery is a good show to have, and we're very proud of the work that Kelly Reverb does on that. He is my brother, so I will let you know that. I will tell you that. So Kelly Reverb and This Pink Cloud coming up after that. Then we've got Kilroy's Conversation on Saturday. We've got Ask Dr. Be Good, a very special edition of her show, and I was honored to be on the show with her. First of all, talking a little bit about CRT in one of the local school districts, and just kind of moving forward, how do teachers handle controversial, emotional subjects. So we talk a little bit about that, and then she has some information that I think everybody needs to hear. She recently had a suicide in her family, and in dealing with that, she's learned some good information, and God bless her for being willing to get on the air and talk about that. So that'll be this coming Sunday, and then JP and I will be back again and all zany on Monday, and then after that we'll have Heart and Soul of Texas Women on mid-morning on Monday. So a Christian women's show about faith, and we'd love to have you join us. All right, y'all have a blessed weekend. Thanks for staying with us today, and we'll see you soon.